There's no reason to say hello to the
There's
internet.
no reason to say hello. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hello, Internet. Place of no
Wow.
drama.
Man, I didn't realize it was such a skill to do that, but Crofton clearly demonstrated he had a skill you do not.
No, well, I'm one of those people who's like a country, or like I'm like the cat where you try to hurt it and it's just like no.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah,
do this, Mike. I'm like no, no, I
yeah.
won't. I
Yeah,
won't do
okay.
it.
And I'm
I
like the
agree.
dog that just wants to please.
Oh man,
and
I saw a great gif of a dog. There's a barbecue and there was a dog dressed up as a chef. And every time a hot dog was taken off the barbecue, he'd lick the hot dog and then they put the hot dog in the pan. And then it just cuts to him serving the hot dogs. It was great. Best gif
that's
ever.
true.
The only thing better than that gif was my describing a gif to you guys rather than just finding it.
This is why I don't want to say hi to the internet.
All right.
It's like half gifs of animals doing stupid shit.
Bo
It's my
would be
intro.
one of those little hyper humping dogs, you know.
It's
like,
Mike's intro. Wow, Mike, that innovation is so great. It's really resolved a big issue that we've had on our show.
I know, it's funny. It's so stupid.
It's funny.
It took us 200 fucking episodes to be like, why don't you just put a letter beside the thing?
Clearly, you have.
I'm
your
in charge of our
talents.
innovation department. Hey, Crofton, how's the marketing plan coming along?
so much drama.
So much. I felt like I had a couple things I wanted to say in the preamble at some point, but I can't remember any of them, so it doesn't matter.
So,
Did you want,
we can give
you
you
want
the
to talk
floor.
about your trip that you didn't get to talk about?
Yeah,
Remember
I don't
you
know.
were desperate last week to talk about it.
Well, it had just happened, so I had things to say. Oh yeah, I was gonna crap on Toronto. I think I told you already why.
Didn't.
No, we got that's all.
Well, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's still
All right, let's go.
all available. All right. So, episode. Wait a minute. What's going on with this thing here?
We might, yeah. What is this, like 196
It's
or something?
196. Episode 196 starts recording in
getting
5,
anxiety.
4,
So much drama.
3, 2.
Hello, and welcome to the Good Batter Bullshit Podcast, where we discuss random topics, have an unrehearsed conversation about that topic, and then provide a quality review. My name's Mike Hodgins. I'm one of your three hosts on this show, along with the one and only Bo Schwartz. Hello, Bo.
Hi there. How is everyone doing?
Good. And, of course, Mr. Crofton Steers. Hello, Crofton.
Hey, Mike. It's me, Crofton Steers.
I call that
Drama free.
Yeah, I call that my cut to the chase intro. I was like, forged through it, you know? How are you both doing?
Oh, we talked a little bit. See, this is the thing when prepping a podcast, a little behind the scenes magic is we do a lot of the how you doing when we first sort of log into the call. So I'll reheat a bit of that, just saying there's been a lot of drama, you know, at work, around work, whatever, that I've had to deal with lately. And so I'm not good with drama. I got a little anxiety going, that's all. So I'm glad to see two friendly faces and do a lovely podcast.
And it's funny because I was also saying Crofton, not a drama person, so getting dragged in that stuff, I can see upset your your zen. I had something on the other end of the spectrum because Crofton was like, "Don't go back to work, Mike," because I'm here. I'm like a stay-at-home dad kind of thing, especially right now for this week. And I'll give you an experience that is a pretty common experience that I have, which is very different than what Crofton's going through. So oftentimes, like, this is maybe a TMI for some people, but I'll just say it anyways because I don't care.
That means too much information.
Right. Thank you for the context there. And so going to use the toilet with a toddler, right? And my kid is like, he doesn't like when he can't see me, so I'm going to like use the bathroom. But now he's getting older and he kind of plays on his own. I was like, Ivan, I'm just going to use the bathroom here. I'll just leave the door open a bit. You can play outside. And then I sit down. Again, the TMI is number 2. Just to tell you how much like you want your privacy, right? And then he runs over. He's like, Dada, what are you doing? And he opens the door and comes in and is like hanging on my knee, like he's like on my knee. I'm like, Ivan, can you just give me a little bit of privacy? And we're in this little powder room I have, this like tiny bathroom. And then he turns around Keep in mind we're the only ones in the house. Turns around and closes the door to the powder room, and then like leans on my knee again. He's like, "Okay, there, Dada. Now you have privacy." And I'm like, groan, and have to have him there while I do my business on the toilet. That's the kind of thing I have to deal with. Where I'm like, I just want to take a shit in peace.
Door? Lock your kid out of your room when you're taking a dump. That's what I do.
You like destroy things. Like, I don't know. You have like a little girl who's like probably well behaved and nice, but he like smashes stuff and breaks things while I'm not looking. So it's like I have to keep an eye on him so I can be like, hey, put that down, or that kind of stuff. Anyways, that's the kind of stuff I have to live with right now, where you're just like, I just want to sit on the toilet for 2 minutes in peace, and you can't give me that, toddler. You can't even give me that.
I just
like, hello, Dada. Hello, Dada. What are you doing? I'm like, yes, son.
Yeah. It's funny. This is not the same thing, but I had like back to back meetings at work at one point, and like people from my team were trying to get me between meetings, and I really needed to take a shit, and like I had gone through like one entire meeting of really needing to go, and at this point I'm like, I got to go. I had a lot of coffee, whatever. This might be too TMI as well. Anyway, I'm too deep now, so it doesn't matter. And then I'm walking, and then finally two people are like, "Oh, good, Crofton, we need you to go over this." And I'll be like, "I'll be honest, guys, I gotta stop you. I gotta use the bathroom. I really gotta crap." They're like, you could have just said you need to use the bathroom. I'm like, I know, but we're past that point. And then I just walked away.
Yeah, there comes that where you hit that wall where you just don't care anymore. You're like, it's gotta happen. Anyways, Bo, how were your bowel movements today?
There were actually relatively few, surprisingly. I thought, that reminds me, I feel like I have a pending one that I forgot about. You ever have that where you're like, you had to go really bad, but you got distracted with something and you just toughed it out, and then it disappeared. And I may have to go coil a grumpy in the middle of the show.
I bet you're really glad that you invested in those podcast diapers.
No, but I mean,
well, no, those are gaming diapers, but they can be used for podcasting.
Those don't exist. Although,
you've seen that South Park episode where Cartman is like blasting shit out into a pan.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I could cut a hole out of the bottom of this chair that I'm sitting in right now. It's a wooden chair, and then
there's a bucket under it.
I can put a bucket under it, and boom, podcasting. Except just sitting on a hole might be mostly uncomfortable when it's not useful. So maybe I put a lid on it. Like, how cribbage board on the back you can slide out. You can slide out the thing. I just need to. You're a carpenter, Mike. Can you make me one of those?
If Bo had these diapers for gaming, but everything I think of that's gaming related is branded like Doritos Mountain Dew Extreme Gaming Edition. I just think it'd be really funny if it was like Doritos, like Code Red diapers for
like Code Brown.
Yeah, don't break up your raid party if you don't need to. Anyway,
no need to concede.
Being that we already established that Bo is basically living in the hive mind alpha, we should be trying out all these prototypes on him. He should also have some kind of feeding tube that provides some kind of nutritional slurry above his head, sort of like one of those hamster things, Yeah. So we should set Bo up there, get him going 18 hours on the game, little toilet underneath, little feeding tube on top, and it's like, this is what we're all going to be doing in like 20 years.
At first it'd be a funny joke until Bo starts to like it too much. And then
He'll just be like, this is great.
Wait a minute. Why didn't I think of this before? It's like the Excel spreadsheet.
No, I already think it sounds like
He's like, why am I paying for this 800 square foot apartment? I only need 10 square feet now, goddamn.
I already think that sounds like a great idea. I'm not going to hit any realization. I'm just going to be like, I'm right. I was right all along. Those fools!
Just imagine this future: everyone in a 10 by 10 square shitting on a chair they never leave and eating a nutritional slurry through a tube while they play video games.
That's Japan, right? Don't they?
Hell on earth is what it is. Damn it!
It's Japan.
I would like to point out that while this was the most potty humor introduction possibly of all time on this show, it did have a thematic consistency that I appreciated.
Yeah, consistency.
I'd say. Okay, we're probably ready for a random topic then.
Okay.
That's true.
All right, well, Mike, you're in control of the random topic generator, so are we going to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Booyah! Booyah.
Note to self: don't let new listeners start with this episode.
Oh, the topic today is amusement rides.
Amusement rides.
Getting on the roller coaster at the amusement park. I guess that's what we're talking
So
about.
the first thing I thought of when that came up was this friend of mine. I haven't seen him for a couple of years since we both had kids, coincidentally, and he is in love with amusement rides. Like he goes on or used to. I should use the past tense, but he would go on trips like to far off theme parks and stuff like that to go on rides. He would go to Canada's Wonderland like multiple times a summer to go on to go on the rides there. He was like a thrill seeker in the amusement ride sense. And there's a bunch of people like him that are like chasers of the latest and greatest and best and like theme park, amusement park type rides. Now, I think we talked about theme parks on the show, which were more like, I always thought about the Disney type stuff, whereas amusement rides really are like the big roller coasters and the crazy whirlamajigs and all that sort of stuff.
Are we also like? Yeah, I agree. And but are we also including, because you have your tiers of these amusement ride based parks, the like Six Flags, Canada's one. I assume that's a big U.S. thing. The giant big rides, and then do we count your like shitty carny traveling rides where you go in the Gravitron and you like
for sure we do. They're amusement rides.
Yeah,
I
the
guess
teacup
so.
ride. The teacup ride.
Yeah,
I like the
teacup
teacup ride.
Yeah, or the thing where you sit on the swing and it's got like chains holding and start spinning you around and you're like, God, I hope these trains don't break.
I love those rides. The ones with all the chairs that spin around on chains.
They're pretty cool.
I went to this. Okay, look, there's no way to avoid this, so I guess I'll just lead off with it. I worked at an amusement park for like multiple summers, and then one summer I traveled around. And I worked for Nintendo at the time, and we had sort of a setup there. But like, I'd get there early before the park opened. When I was opening the Nintendo Dome, I would immediately go, and I'd go on the rides before the park opened. And one of them that was near was one of these whirly things with the chairs and the ropes and it's like, it's not necessarily an intense ride, but it's just it feels super nice. Like you're flying on this chair, you put your arms and you're like, oh, it's a nice summer day. It's pretty awesome. Now here's the thing. I'm by myself on the ride. I'm having an awesome time. All is great in the world. That's not how most people experience amusement rides. Most people experience amusement rides by waiting in a crazy line to get into the amusement park, then go to the rides, and then wait in ridiculous, like multi-tiered. Sometimes it's comical how long these lines are. Like they'll have all these divisions, and you can't even see. It'll go around a corner, and you're like, I think once we get around that corner, the line's going to disappear. And then you get around the corner and it's like you're inside a building and it's just snakes along left and right. And you're like, why the hell is this 5-minute ride or less going to be worth this, like, hour-long waiting period? And now I know some places have like these fast lines that you can get in and all that. And so it's kind of hard for me to just like, the rides in their purest sense are really fun, but like it's like when you go to these ski hills and you're waiting in line for a crazy amount of time before like doing a 1-minute run down a short hill. It feels like all amusement parks are like that all the time.
Yeah, it's funny. That's like, I have not been to many of these things, and I feel like it's pretty much impossible to not get something out of a ride when you're on it. Like whether it be just that it's fun, exhilarating, a rush that you feel fear, which is then rewarded with an endorphin rush after you don't die. Like you ever been on those big drop ones where it goes up there and you're just like, oh, and it gives a few like goes click, 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 and you're like, oh, it's gonna drop, click, click, and then you're just dropping, and you're like, and then it's over, and you're like, man, that was awesome. And it's like, so those are all great. I those are neat sensations that you only get through something like an amusement ride, because most of us are never going to fly a fighter jet or go in the space shuttle or whatever. So it's neat. But I mean, I don't know what kind of legs this episode's going to have, because I'm like right away, but the lines are making it all worth it. It's kind of like, I've been on a couple roller coasters, so I've experienced those things. It's fun. Yeah, sure. I like it. I do not want to stand in a line for 2 hours ever.
The lines are not what we're talking about. We're talking about the rides themselves, and maybe the lines are
it's part of it. You can't have one with a. Yeah, it's true. Okay, if you say, okay, you close the park and you get to go on all the rides by yourself, I'm like, yeah, great. Amusement rides are great, but that's not what it is. As Crofton pointed out, that's not what it is. You have to take it all in parcel. You can't just be like the minute you're on the ride and that's all. It's like, you have to wait in the 2-hour lineup to get on the ride, and it's part of the experience.
I guess so. Like, yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, is there ever a quiet day? Like, if you were really an amusement ride enthusiast,
raining.
Do they run when it's raining? I guess.
Yeah. They generally will run them unless it's like a torrential downpour.
So let me offer a counterpoint here, because Crofton seems professionally experienced. Michael seems very positive on amusement rides, right? Except maybe the lines. He's trying to bring the lines into the issue to Sully, but the rides themselves you think is pretty awesome. I'm not necessarily going to say something different, but I think of the three of us on the show, I'm the biggest wuss when it comes to rides. I've never gone on a drop ride. I refuse to go on any rides where you go upside down. It used to scare the crap out of me, and it probably still does, but I just haven't been asked to go on amusement rides. Mostly it's been a situation where either I was with a girlfriend or I was with family and there were rides and someone's like, be on this ride. And I'm like, no, it looks scary. I don't want to do it. And I don't do it.
You're that
guy. Well, that shouldn't surprise you. Like for the bungee jump, he didn't want to do that either, right?
I didn't do the bungee jump. I looked at it and I went, no, thank you.
and the thing I'll say to that, and not just that rides aren't necessarily for everyone, like and there's different like levels of thrill associated to, like the teacups aren't going to be the same as like the monster roller coaster, obviously, but I do find that rides are, they provide kind of like a variety of experiences. That and when we talk about bungee jump, like, I mean, bungee jump, there might not be a line, but there's a giant price tag, or you might have to book crazy in advance for like a very fleeting sensation. At amusement parks, it's the same thing. For the most part, you're not going to get these experiences elsewhere. And like, I've queued up for really annoying things. Like, I've waited at doctor's offices. I've waited to get my passport. I've waited for forms or for like job interviews. Like, I've been in lines for really, really annoying things where I can't really quantify the value of being in the line or waiting for as long as I did. At amusement parks, for the rides, I'm waiting for a long time, but then I'm instantly, hopefully, gratified to a certain extent. And maybe afterwards I'm like, yeah, it wasn't quite worth the waiting in the line for the experience, but for the most part, it generally is. If there's a big line, it's because it's a pretty awesome experience, and then you leave with this, a smile on your face. Now, there's some that go wrong, and people get injured. It's not like, but I think probably that's
rare, right?
Fairly low percentage.
But so if I can say the one thing, because I don't take rides very much. I think they're probably cool. Actually, it's two aspects, but one we can touch on later. But this year I've traveled more by airplane than I have in my entire life. I went on two trips, totaling maybe 10 distinct flights between stops and stuff like that, and I had a lot of fun. And that TSA line, when you're waiting to go to the States and go through the TSA line, I'm like, I'm waiting to get on my ride. Now, the first one was really scary. I was kind of scared. It'd been like 18 years since I've been on a plane. And it was fun. I was like, everyone's like just very like, oh, I'm on a plane, whatever. And I'm like, I'm taking off, and I'm gripping my seat really hard. And that was enough for me to feel like planes are a ride. And I can't wait till the next time I go on
like,
one.
Because I would jump in and say, because I love flying I agree. It's the best part. You're taking off and you feel the power of those like jet engines shooting you up. It's like it's pretty cool. And I would say that like amusement park does offer a similar experience and up from there. Like I mean, you said you don't like the upside down things. Maybe it's a bit too much with the G-force, but because I love that aspect of the plane ride. But it's kind of like you're doing something else. You're not. No one is booking a plane ticket anywhere because they like the experience of the acceleration of takeoff, because that would be a stupid thing to do with your money. It's more just like it's something fun that you get when you're doing something else. But like the amusement ride, in some ways, it is a good value for money if you like that stuff. So if you like the airplane ride, it'd be like you go pay like $50. Maybe it's not 50, maybe it's $80 now. I don't know, to get in for a day at like Canada's Wonderland, and have many of those experiences all in one day, and ones that are more intense, and that when you're done and you get through it, you're like, whoa, that was really cool. So like if you say you like that, I don't see why you wouldn't like a lot of these a lot of amusement rides. Kind of surprised that you're so.
I think it's more that like there's a certain type of ride that's for me, and that's like the teacup ride,
the teacup.
the teacup ride, the Gravotron, the one where you get in and then you get stuck to the wall the whole time. Like safe, keeps me vertical rides. As soon as you start going upside down or doing crazy barrel rolls or loop-de-loops, good lord, I don't. There was one ride I went on that it was a pretty tame roller coaster. Roller coasters are okay, but at the end was a steep drop, and they take like your picture and you make a dumb face. I hated that steep drop. That steep drop that gives you that pressure in your groin. You know what I'm talking about?
The what? Truck?
Like you know when you're in a car and you go down a hill really quickly, you get a pressure in your groin. Like butterflies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like that roller coaster was like that on crack. Croft is looking at me weird. Have you never had the groin butterflies?
I wouldn't call it my groin.
Yeah,
I feel it in my penis. I swear to God. I swear to God, I feel it in my penis.
Feel your stomach kind of like drop. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but it tickles my penis. It tickles my penis. It doesn't do that for you guys.
No, it doesn't.
Really? Then it could be just the way I'm. It could be the way I'm wired. It could be why I don't like it because it makes my penis.
Genitals are too overstimulated.
Like that butterfly feeling. Imagine it in your penis. Like it's weird.
Yeah, I don't get that. So that's a thing.
And also, I don't want to dwell on that point. Let's.
You sure you don't want to dwell on my penis?
No, I'd rather not.
So, before discussing Bo's penis any further, I would like to say that I said earlier rides aren't for everyone, and I do stand by that. There are different tiers, but some people just don't get a kick out of them. I get the impression that Bo was one of those guys that would be like, oh, I hate this. This looks really scary. And then he'd go on and be like, wow, that was actually super awesome, as he did with the planes. That's why he's the type of guy that you'd lay the peer pressure on pretty hard to go on the rides. But there'd be roller coasters. I used to wear glasses, and there'd be roller coasters with these big, they go over the shoulder to keep you in type things. And I was a fairly skinny kid, and it would bounce. I'd bounce around, and my glasses would get messed up, and they'd hit against my ear, and I was like in discomfort, and there'd be a bunch of wind in my face and all that sort of stuff. And I've gotten off rides where I've been like, that sucked, or that was really like, I mean, I did it, so kudos for me, but it was not an enjoyable experience. But I find the newer rides and how they're designed and stuff are really cool, and I get a great experience. And some of the old, like La Ronde in Montreal where I was working, it had like this giant wooden roller coaster, and I've been on a couple of these old Coney Island style wooden roller coasters, and I really I get like a weird sort of experience, like it's an adrenaline rush, but it also feels like a throwback to old times. So I like that a lot. I have a lot of positivity surrounding this, but like if you told me that I was it's like it has diminished returns. If you told me like every day, like the summer I worked there, every day go on a ride, at one point you stop doing it, you lose the novelty. The things that are small annoyances become bigger annoyances, and that sort of thing. So like it feels like a special occasion thing and not an everyday thing.
Yeah, I could totally see that, because it's like having had the experience of going on a few, I feel basically content, especially as that's counterbalanced against the horror of waiting in line for an hour or 2 hours to do something that takes 2 minutes. But I think the other point that's really interesting about this is a lot of people seek this kind of adrenaline rush, and there's a lot of ways to get that kind of thing, but they're not all safe, right? And I think that that's the main thing that the amusement ride provides, where it's like, barring the occasional accident, and these are occasional, like when you hear someone die in an amusement park, like, and then you look at the amount of people that go through amusement parks, it's very safe, right? Like you're not likely to die on an amusement ride. So it's providing you safety and like an experience which is like exhilarating, which you might get from something like, see, when I was younger, I mean, and I still would be into this, I just haven't had the time or will, I guess, lately. But you go find a cliff and go cliff jumping in the water. That I find a really fun adrenaline, especially when it gets up to the heights where you're like, oh, this is getting high. But it's unsafe, and people die quite a bit doing those kinds of things. And I mean, you're still not likely to die doing it, but every year you hear someone like you hit something in the water or you drown or whatever. So it's like you can get those adrenaline rushes from other places. They're just not safe, and I just feel like it's great that there's like a safe alternative to experience this stuff where you don't have to like put your life on the line or whatever. And a lot of like extreme sports give you that feeling, but what comes with it's like the amusement ride simulates the fear and apprehension of doing something which may cause you to die, but with the safety of knowing you're not going to die. Whereas if you go like, skiing and you're in crazy terrain and you want to jump off a cliff, you're going to have adrenaline, but you might die. Like you might avalanche, you might land on a rock. Like, so that's the difference. And that's one of the, I guess, good things about them.
I have a question though, actually, Mike, and this is mostly for you, although Bo, feel free as well. When we drew golf on this show, we talked about like, because none of us really played golf, and Bo tried to defend it, and I remember way back. But we talked about the environmental impact and the resources involved in all this. These amusement parks, and the parks themselves are generally pretty huge, but even the amount of space some of these singular rides take are significant. They take a lot of resources to produce and all that sort of stuff, and they while they're not as prevalent as golf courses all over the place, they're still you could argue that they're not good for the environment or productive in that way.
Yeah.
Does it counterbalance like do they get a pass because the rides are fun, or like
no, I don't think so. I mean, I was just saying that as a point, which I think is towards their positive. It's not gonna like my verdict's spoiler, probably not gonna be good.
Really?
And that's one of the reasons, yeah, because like these things are big, like luxurious, superfluous things. And you ever look at like a garbage can in an amusement park? It's like almost always like overflowing with shit. And then the funniest thing when you go to any kind of like place that has a lot of traffic now, and you look and there's like a recycle thing and a garbage and like an organic waste, and you look at all of them and they're all just jammed with garbage. So it's like no one does. It's just like they can't control the people in it. They're a big mess. Not to mention probably what the energy costs are to drive these types of things. They probably suck tons of electricity for no purpose other than entertainment. And I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be too like, oh, no one should have any fun because it's like bad for the earth. You should be able to have fun. I mean, I stand by the golf thing because it's not fun. But whereas at least amusement park has that going for it. But yeah, I still think that is a major downside.
So here's
against
the
them.
thing.
Like
what was your verdict on virtual reality?
Mine? I don't know.
Because
probably negative.
Here's the thing. I haven't had many recent experiences in an actual amusement park ride, plane rides notwithstanding. But I have an Oculus. I have a beta Oculus Rift, SDK2. And one of the applications in it was a ride that swings you back and forth. And I was getting the sensation of just a imbalance, I suppose, or like I was feeling things based on the equilibrium perception of my brain. Do you think maybe we can do without some of the negative impacts of actual rides by replacing it with really good VR versions? And
well, it's funny because like I looked it up. I said VR was bad. and they'll stand by that too. Though in some ways, I'm like, what did I say on that episode? I should go re-listen to it because
I mean,
I'm sure I was right.
It'll
But,
solve the
It's interesting
amusement
what
park
he's raising, though. Like if
environmental
VR
issues.
gets to the point where like a lot of the experiences are ride related, like or they give, if there was a way to properly simulate, and there's these arcades in Japan right now that like you have the VR stuff, but then they blow wind in your face and move your chair, and like pretty much like, so in terms of resource demand, it's much less intensive than these giant parks. Is that like a better replacement, I guess?
Probably. It's funny because I tend to think like with this whole thing, I'm like, I talked about, and I still want to think of things that kind of give me a rush and that give you that experience and are fun and are also like a worthwhile physical activity. I feel like just go and like try rock climbing or something. It'll make you scared and you'll get some exercise. Like try whitewater kayaking.
I'll
You'll be
literally
like, oh, man,
make
this
it
is scary.
up one rock. I'll be like 5 inches off the ground. I'll be like, I'm done. I'm so tired.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I've
But the
been
point
there.
is like, so my view on this will be different than your guys, but mine is like, go and do something in the fucking world that's like that gives you those experiences. You can still have a degree of safety when you do these types of things, pretty good degree
wait,
of
I
safety,
thought
and you get exercise.
You-
Not
you-
only sitting in a chair,
You're
being
really
fooled by a
this
screen.
is you at the beginning of the show, way up here, and you're slowly sliding down as you find more and more bad things to say about amusement rides.
Well, look,
that you
I
love,
I did say
that
that
you
they
enjoy.
were fun, and I did say that they were fun, a fun activity. But and this is again coming back to where my verdict's going to land on this. I will come back again to the line, like the whole experience. It's like if I talk about these other things, like if I go rock climbing, it's fun, it's exhilarating. When I'm up like 80 feet on a cliff and you're looking around, it's this amazing view, and you're like, yeah, this rope breaks, I'm gonna die. And then you rappel down, it's really fun, and you get to the bottom, you're like, man, that was awesome. And I had a day outside with some friends, and I hiked. I didn't have to wait in a line. I'd be like, that's the type of thing we should do more of. Because though the experience of the ride is really fun, and I would not take away from it, it's like when I think of my experiences at theme parks, they're usually ones of like, oh God, I don't want to go to one because of the lines, and I can't get past it. Like I went to Disneyland, which is the one in Florida, Crawford.
At Disney World.
Disney World when I was a kid, and I don't remember barely any of the rides from it, but I remember being stuck in one somewhere in some movie themed area. Or there was Muppets or something. I don't even remember.
Oh, really? It was a movie theme at Disney World. This is interesting.
Something like that. But I
Helps
just
me
remember
narrow it down.
there was this song that played on a loop. It was like, "You've got a friend in me" or something like that. And it just went on and on and on. I remember, like, I still think of that song. I was like, oh, that line, because it was like a 3-hour line, and there was one song that played in a loop, and I was like, I'm in hell right now, hell. And I don't even remember what the ride was, but I remember being
How
like,
old were you?
It's Toy
like
Story.
17,
Oh,
old
okay.
enough
Yeah.
to be like, why am I doing this? And it's like, you get on the ride, you're like, that was fun. Why did they play this fucking song? Can't they play another song? It was so annoying. Like, and then you go to these, and more recently, my most recent ride experience is at this place near us called, what's the water park called? The one
Calypso.
with the one with the racist lazy
Calypso.
yeah, Calypso. It's this huge water park, which is those are amusement rides and they're fun big water slides. And I've been there twice recently, and both times I've left being like, why did I go to that place? And it's like, yes, the water slide's fun when you get on it, but most of you are just waiting in a giant line, like being like, this sucks. I wish I was just on a lake someplace and I could jump off a rock. It'd be way more fun than this. And then you get on, you're like, yeah, that was fun. Look at these goddamn lines. Can we leave already? And then, so it's just like the experience of being forced to you pay money and stand around. It's just like,
Is it
why?
just the kind of thing, like, wouldn't going on a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning be better? Because most
Oh yeah,
many
there's
amusement
ways
parks,
there's
I've only ever
ways
been on
to
the
modify
weekend
it.
or weeknights.
For sure, there's ways.
But
to,
it's like
yeah.
Crofton said, like, yeah, if it's pouring rain and it's a miserable day, then I bet you'll do all right. But then you're gonna be wet and uncomfortable as well, right?
Though the thing, so if we're talking about negative stuff of amusement parks, Mike touched on something earlier that I think is apropos. Like every once in a while, you and you guys and I'll get together, play nerd board games or something like that, and pretty much in my mind, calories do not count during that time. So we're like essentially eating absolute crap will be like pizza and let's have double ice cream for dessert with like with gummy bears, or as Bo calls it, a weekday meal. But like
We had pogos last time
yeah,
too.
Bogos or whatever. But the thing is, it's like I'm having, I'm out on a Saturday night. I'm having fun. I'm doing what I want. This isn't my everyday living. This is like, sort of a one night thing. I feel like people, like when Mike's talking about how they sorted the garbage earlier and how people like they're provided an opportunity to sort it correctly and just like dump it into things. It's because when people go there, you go for the amusement rides. You're there. You're like, I'm here to indulge in excess and like be they excess sensations in terms of rides, excess consumption in terms of food, or winning those stupid prizes that like everybody can do without, those giant bears and stuff at the stalls. Like so I do feel that is true. And like I feel like, when I'm walking down, this is just a side comment, and it's a generalization, and I know, but when I'm walking around the street or walking around places, like there's a certain percentage of dickheads to non-dickheads, and it feels like when I'm walking around an amusement park, it tilts very heavily to dickheads. Like the ratio gets out of whack, and like you'll be in line, some jerks, some dumb kids will cut the line, and you're like, whatever. Now bear in mind, I worked even as a mascot for a time at a park, and so definitely I've seen my share of of dickheads. But there's something about the environment of the amusement park, the constant sensory overload, sounds, motion, everything that just signals like excess and bad behavior. There's a reason zombies always fill it up in movies.
Yeah, it does seem true. It seems to draw like the, I don't want to say scum of the earth, but because that's an overstatement. But it's like, and I guess I've been there, so I'm including myself in that characterization there. But yeah, I agree. It's like everyone's got an armband tattoo and spray on tan and stuff. It's just, no offense to any armband tattoo listeners. Please send your hate mail to @goodbadbo.
I think it's funny
when I got this barbed wire tattoo, it was the best decision of my life, and how dare you say anything negative?
I got Good Bad Bull as a circular tattoo, and this is how you guys repay me? Fuck you guys.
I stand by it.
Have we done? We did tattoos, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I said they were shitty.
Sorry.
Sorry, tattoo people.
We've already alienated that market.
Yeah, this is like Alienation, the show, basically.
It also, I would also say, if anyone wants to throttle me over the internet right now, to be like, it's just my opinion. Who cares what I think? You don't. It doesn't matter. Right?
Why are you listening to this show?
Why are you listening to this show? Do something with your life, goddamn.
Go out rock climbing. You'll get quite a rush.
Yeah, except rock climbing.
You might even get some exercise.
Except the sacred rock climbing.
I'm ready for vert.
I think so too. I talked about the two aspects about how it impacts my life. That's airplanes and
your penis,
VR. Yeah, and the penis feeling, and my general. I'm kind of afraid of the scary ones. They're scary to me. Even now, I think about it, and I'm like, I feel scared.
If you're just tuning in now, he's talking about roller coasters and rides.
Right. Not any other kind of ride. All right, well, let's bring up farm animals. I think we are. I think it's about time we can do that and take a bit of time. Do you know where the farm animals are, Mike? Where did you do with them?
They live in your house, Bo.
They're rock climbing.
Rock climbing.
The billy goats are really good at it.
There, okay, I found them. There we go. We're opening the All right, order in the court, you clowns. It's time to deliver the verdict. As the intro guy, Mike, perhaps you should step up in the line. Wait, there's 100 people ahead of you. Just hold on.
I'm a little bit conflicted on what...
I like that, Bo.
I'm a little bit conflicted on what I'm going to say. I think you can probably judge that it's not good is one of the things I'm not conflicted about. I think that I guess in some ways I said all I was gonna say. It's like it's a fun experience. that is surrounded by shittiness. It's like when you're in the ride, it's like great, and this is fun while I'm doing it. And then when you're out of it, you're in some disgusting environment with sensory overload, looking at what other line you want to get into and stand in, feeling infuriated for the next hour until you're like, yeah, I'm having fun again for 30 seconds, and then it's over. So I guess it's like, and I had go out and do these, there's lots of ways to get these kind of rushes or exhilaration. You can get some exercise and get outdoors, and I'm like, that's better in my mind, but not everyone has access to that. Not everyone is physically capable to do those things or whatever. So rides can still offer those experiences, which are fun, and everyone should have access to them. So this feels like a bit of a cop-out for me, but I'm going to say there's bullshit because, let's face it, I wanted to say bad, but I'll stand on bullshit. They're kind of shitty places. They often smell like shit or vomit. Vomit. That's what they often smell like. And they're annoying to go to. I don't understand the person who can have a season pass at one of these things unless they only go on the rainy days. And I also don't understand the people who take like crazy road trips to go to them, because it's like, let's wait in the car for 8 hours. Now we're here. Let's go wait in line again. I'd be like, you could have just bought a gun and shot yourself at home and saved yourself the day. Yeah, that's the hyperbole there. Anyways, okay, bullshit. I'm done.
I'll go next. Vote can close out. So I agree with the very first thing Mike said, which is that rides are fun. Before he added all the other stuff, this may come as a surprise to some of the listeners, but I quite enjoy to talk, and I have vivid recollections of standing in the lines for amusement parks and having super great conversations and chatting with my friends. When I think about amusement parks in general, I remember vividly my ride experiences and all the fun that I've had. And I remember sometimes conversations I've had and all that, but I don't necessarily, like Mike's had some experiences listening to the same song over and over and just wanting to murder himself. I know I've had some bad line experiences, but they haven't stuck with me in that way. So like the positive overshadows the good. And I think it's the same way when I think about skiing in those days growing up where I was waiting in these giant lines at a small ski hill. But I remember just even though it was like 30 seconds to go top to bottom on the hill, I remember that more than I remember the lines. And this is another one of those cases. So even though I grant him the lines thing, it is for sure annoying. And like, I've been fortunate that I've got to do a lot of rides, like at weird times and weird places where I didn't have to deal with as much of the lines. But my appetite for those rides is based on the fact that they're super fun and that I've just had a ton of fun throughout my life in lots of different places doing rides. And I definitely I recognize the negative, the excess, the fact that they, take a lot of resources to construct and all that. But like when I got one of those virtual reality things, what was the first thing I want to try? I'm like, oh, let's see what a ride's like. And one of the reasons is because it's so fun. So for me, I just have a lot of positive emotions around this. So I'm just going to say that amusement rides are good.
It's a lot to unpack here.
Is there really?
I mean, it's a really simple thing. I think my feelings on them generally are that the rides that I can go on, I enjoy. I'm with Mike. I don't like the lines. Actually, I agree with Mike a lot, but I just don't feel as passionate about as he does tonight, which is, it comes from a very deep, real place, and it's very,
like touched a nerve with me.
Like there's some true pathos happening here. So they're fun. I don't like the lines. I don't like all the crap Mike said too. I'm with Mike on that front. But the main thing that comes to mind when it just comes to rides is that there's some I just won't go on. I'm just too scared. It's too chicken. I don't like my body being whipped around that way. Waiting for Crofton's biting his tongue. I like it whipped around other ways, I suppose. So anyways, the verdict on amusement park rides is that they're fun, but I can't go on all of them. So they're cool, but I don't know. They kind of, I kind of hate them too, just for that reason. So I'm gonna say that amusement park rides are bullshit. And overall, I think they're good. I'm less concerned with the same things Mike's are. Really, the bullshit comes from the fact that they're just something I'll never be a big doer of. And in fact, if you were to strap me into a crazy one right now, I would be angry with you. I would not want to do it. I would say I might have some braggadocio and be like, oh, I could do whatever ride. And then once I get in the ride, I'll start chickening out, not wanting to do it. I get really scared about.
Fair enough. Some people don't like the sensation.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, if you liked any of the sensations that came towards you in this podcast, please let us know about that. Or if you just like to email and describe the merits of your armband tattoo, please do that as well. You can get in touch with us, and we'd love to hear from you. Go to our website, goodbadbull.com, and there you can find all the ways to reach us, including email, goodbadbull@gmail.com, or you can send us a tweet on the Twitter @goodbadbull. You can like us on Facebook and engage with us there. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, you can do so at Google Play, iTunes, or wherever you find your podcasts. We would appreciate a subscription or whatever you call it. And, of course, we do have a Patreon supporters and a Patreon account. What is it? Patreon.com/goodbadbull. And the people out there who send us a few dollars a month, we really do appreciate it. It keeps everything going, and can't say enough good things about you. So, guys, if our listeners want to hear what you guys are doing, on your own, aside from on the show, Bo, where can people follow what you're up to?
Follow me at Bo Schwartz for all the latest and greatest. There'll be some announcements soon. So you'll find them there. If you follow there, like you'll hear a new thing.
Foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
I like Bo.
Like,
Bo's every other episode when he's plugging his shit. He's like, keep an eye because stuff's going down. There's going to be some announcements. I can't tell you anything about them, but they will be announced.
I'll be announcing my gummy bear dinner that Crofton described.
Gummy bear dinners. It's like a fork and knife and glass of wine and gummy bears. Crofton, where can people follow you?
They can hop on the thrill ride of Crofton's tweets by following him on Twitter @CroftonSteers. It's half plugging this show, half making fun of Bo. It's a perfect combo.
The highest highs, the lowest lows. You'll get them all on Crofton's Twitter account, and you can follow me @MLHodgins, though I make no tweets. So
that was the best. That was the best outro we've done. It was fairly succinct. Mike kept it under control.
Sort of trolling.
And he had the best segue from verdicts to giving the information in the history.
Oh, thank
you. If you enjoy those sensations, tell us the sensations that you're feeling. That was
sensations like hatred, annoyance.
I was just thinking about sex sensations.
Send us a bulleted list of your sensations.
I like how Mike. So our Mike's verdict is like, Mike, if it's a topic that involves fun, generally is like bullshit.
I like fun though.
Sure you do. And then Bo though his was most hilarious when he was rationalizing it. He's like, look, I like rides. Rides are good, except they scare me, so bullshit.
That's fair though. I think that's fair. If you don't like the thing, like it's like you're asking, it's something specific that he's like, I don't like this thing. Why would I call it good? I mean, it's a fair point.
Yeah,
I agree.
They're just bullshit because I don't get to enjoy them like other people do.
I just like it'd be like if I don't like spiders. It'd be like if there's the spider that is the cure for cancer, and they've just discovered it, and we're doing a verdict on spiders, and I'm like, yeah, they cure cancer, but also they kind of scare me. So
they actually
bad?
Scare me. So I'd be saying bad. Fuck those spiders. I don't want to touch them.
I'd rather cancer.
Well, I'd rather, I don't know, there's some sort of solution that involves knocking me out and having the spider have its way with me.
It is funny, this whole amusement park thing versus like today I was biking around versus the things that I kind of find fun and exhilarating. There's this little place in Ottawa where water flows like right downtown, and people have made this like kayak course in it. It's got all these little like, waves you can play on in little holes. It's a really neat little course, like almost right downtown. And I was looking at it and like, I have a kayak and I've done some whitewater kayak. I'm like, why don't I go there? It looks like a lot of fun. You can just go there. There's no lineup. You just go and start playing in it. It would be like fun and exhilarating a little bit. I was like, do that. I mean, you can rent kayaks. I just always think of stuff like
go to your water course. Hey, you know what's funny is because Mo was making this parallel with VR, and you were talking about rock climbing, which is hilarious. But after rides, after like ride simulators, probably the next most common game / simulator in VR is rock climbing.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Why?
Because of all the things that you just said, like like the idea
VR
of like,
can't. Like I would like to do the VR one. I'm sure it can experience. You can simulate the experience of height, but it can't experience the sensation of being.
Oh no,
like
of course not. But it's the fact that it chases after it in the same way that it chases after the the experience of roller coasters just shows that the analogy, which at first I laughed at, then I was like, oh yeah, you know what? That's another. It's another thing that they're like replicating in VR or whatever. So it's
weird.
Maybe Mike was making some sense after all.
Maybe.
Bo's like, great, they're fun. They're starting to get all the online components of the hive mind. We won't need we won't need our RL anymore.
Mm-hmm. If we got rock climbing, we got everything. All right, that's gonna wrap up for this show. I think there. I'll find a place to exit. We didn't exit on a big joke. We exited on on VR. But thank you, Wicked Kitten, for watching the show. I don't think anyone else joined us today. But
Yeah.
she enjoyed the penis talk. The penis talk was great.
Really? What about the poop talk?
We covered the scatological spectrum in this episode.
Yeah, there was vomit too, for God's sakes.
Mike's tired.
there?
He wasn't policing it. He's like, enough toilet humor. He just let it.
He
I
tried
don't like it when it's contrived. If it's like if it's got a theme.
It's-
You know?
Mike's
It's
like, if
gotta
I
be-
bring it up, it's cool though. My
not that,
toddler
it's-
was watching me shit.
I don't like it when someone's saying something out of
That's
context.
true.
and
Mike
then
started
someone's
the
like,
shit. You opened the
sounds
shit
like
gate.
poop. That annoys me. But I'm like, if we're talking about poop, then let's talk about poop.
You opened the
Do
shit
it
gate.
right. We were thematically consistent.
Like when Bo, during his verdict, was trying to get someone to make a lewd comment about his body being whipped, and he came back to it. He's like,
No.
I like
no.
my body being whipped in other ways. It's
No.
like, okay, Bo, okay.
Well, I mean, I was watching Crofton, and Crofton was like biting his tongue as hard as he could, and it,
Yeah,
I
but
just-
you were baiting him.
yeah, I was totally baiting him.
He's a masturbator.
Okay, let's move along. See?
There we
oh,
go.
damn,
Okay.
snaps! There's a Dread Pirate Rami here. He says shitgate hashtag.
Excuse me.
Hello. All right.
What did you
Twitch
say,
is pretty
Bo?
like. It doesn't tell you very well who's actually there or not very quickly. Someone hashtag shitgated us. All right.
What
Well,
does that
thanks.
mean?
I don't know. It's just internet stuff. Hashtags. It means if you want more of this conversation, click on the hashtag and follow all of the messages related to shitgate.
Thank you for that.
All right.
All right.
It was good doing a show. Thank you, viewers, for watching. Have yourselves a great night, and we'll, of course, be back with more poo soon. Have a good one.